Welcome to technique number 3, the gate peg bind off.
Okay, so now we are going to very carefully demonstrate gate peg, not double E wrap, not how to cast on. Gate peg bind off. The first thing we need to do is remove our yarn from our carriage. We're working on the carriage side. We need our single prong transfer tool. This is a really drawn out process, but the results are pretty cool. You do not start on stitch 1, you start at stitch 2. Stitch 2 goes onto your single prong transfer tool. Put that back a little bit. You go behind the gate peg, put it on top of stitch 1, move them both back to the stitch 2, bring forward the needle, and you knit it off. Now you repeat. Grab the second stitch, bring it around the gate peg onto the first stitch, knit it through. Now, this time I did not remember to move them, so now I have to move it all the way around the gate peg. Now we're going to do it properly. You can see that I've gotten lazy. So you move the first one over to the second one, move them both over, knit it through. First one to second one, or second one to first one, and then back to the second one. Knit it through. Second to first, back to second, knit it through. Second to first, back to second, knit it through. Second to first, back to second, knit it through. I think you kind of get the idea. I'm going to change cameras and we're going to continue with the rest of this row. Okay, so this is gate peg bind off. I'm going to have to change to a different tool, only because of the space I have to work with. So we go into the second one. It's on the tool behind the gate peg. Grabbing that first stitch, moving them back to the second stitch, or second needle, knitting it through. Grabbing the first, second, grabbing the second, moving it on to the first, moving them both back to second. Bring the needle forward, knitting through. Grabbing the next, working our way back, grabbing both, back to the second one, knitting it through. Grabbing the second one to the first, closing the latch, moving it over, knitting it through. Grabbing the second to the first, closing the latch, moving it over, knitting it through. Second to first, back to second, knitting it through. Second 2 first. Close the latch, going back, knitting it through. Second to first. Back to second, knitting it through. What happens if you do it wrong? It doesn't look as nice. So, second to first. Hang on. Nope. Still have a little issue here. Closing that latch. Getting it through. Knitting it through. And here's the last one. Backwards. Forwards. Knitting it through. Now I'm always going to put in an extra stitch just to lock it all in. Okay, we're going to switch back to the other camera and then I'll let you see what this looks like. Okay, so now we're going to remove the work from the machine. Alright, pretty little gate peg, and that is how the gate peg looks when done properly. You will see that it looks identical to our cast on of the double E wrap. So that's pretty cool. It's nice and neat, and it shows on the knit side instead of on the purl side. However, the double E wrap also looks really cool from the purl side. I mean, knit side. So that is how we do the simple techniques that we have been learning with this sweater. I am now going to play with the calculator and we'll try and explain it.